So welcome everyone. I'm going to start. Some of you know me and you have an idea of what I represent and what I do, but and many of you have never attended. You might have attended a talk, but this is a workshop, so it does require you to listen. And there are things that you need to fill in. There's no right or wrong answers. It's about you. The value that you will take away from this session is me guiding you to carry out a little bit of a self-reflection, a self assessment, which will be very useful for you. So, a little bit of intro about me. I call myself, what I do is I renovate lives. So, because I had been for a long time an architect, so I renovate lives now. I deliver to you the version of happiness which I call happier happiness, whereby it is about you journeying onto along your life and not just coasting, but taking action and massaging it. Today's workshop specifically within an hour is very compact, and I will bring to you two exercise. It's actually one exercise, but there are two parts. And I hope that you will finish the 1 hour feeling that, oh wow, that was a really good 1 hour. And when you have participated, you will actually get almost instantly the PDF report to your mailbox, which is similar to what you see on the screen here. And that is your own reflection. There is no comments from me per se, but it's me guiding you to reflect. So let me start by suggesting, leading us into this topic. For anyone who is not like Jenny driving, and you should keep your eyes on the road, you will see the screen. And the question I pose to you is, everyone talks about work-life balance. So for you, and I want you to be quite selfish, because everything that we're looking at here today, I want you to be selfish and think about yourself. Is your life about work? Or is your work about your life? Would you rather believe in this thing called the work-life balance? Now, of course, I'll have a diagram later whereby, in a way, it is not about one or zero, it's not about work or life. Okay? But before we go there, do you ever feel like this where you are running very, very low? Your battery is very, very low, like 1%. You need to recharge. And I want to share with you that, not that this is the real me, but this visual is pictorially where I was 3 years ago. Literally standing at the edge of a cliff, thinking, you know, is really not so good, and I'm not sure whether I desire to continue. But then it's, what we call a leap of faith, or stepping back also because of my faith. But before we get ourselves to take action, the human brain is wired for evolution and for survival needs to take action when it is really, really necessary. And that is why many people will procrastinate self-care, because there are so many other things that are more important. Self-care is very low on their priority list. But you don't have to wait till this stage, what you see on the screen, or maybe you are already here, when you are on a social in a social setting, you're checking your email, or maybe the time when you are spending with your family, you have so much that you have to handle. And recently my sister told me she had a little bit of a awakening, because when she went for a health screening and she's having some problems, she went for a sonar scan. And when she was getting it, doing the sonar scan, she was replying emails from work. But in this case, of course, I mean, you can't do that. I mean, when you go into an MRI machine, the magnet will mess up your phone, I think. But you can imagine what I'm trying to say, right? You go for a health screening and you're still dedicating attention, resources, time onto your work. Now, we all know that in the modern world, we have this term called, move in the right circles. So I have a fascination for circles as a shape. And just now I mentioned about work-life balance. In some ways, it is not work or life, but your life. I mean, each of us has an identity, and that personifies our life. Work is but something that is contained in your life. So never see work as a substitute for life. Never see life being the opposite of work, meaning that, oh, if I'm working, therefore I don't have a life. You know, it's always in between, but work is a subset of life. Cutting a circle. So we're going to move into something that requires action now. So I hope some of you are listening attentively. Imagine you have a pizza. So someone tells you that you have to cut it equally, and there are six people on the table. So this is what you've done, right? Amazing, equal share. So imagine the same circle, and now visualize and think of your life as the composition of four aspects of your life, which is self, you, your self care, what your identity is, what you represent, who you are, your physical and mental well being, your family, your work, the role that you play, what kind of responsibilities. Most of us would think of work as is linked to some form of financial remuneration or your involvement in a community. Your community meaning it could be a charity, it could be a church, it could be a group of friends, right? So each of us in our life exist sim- simply put in these four quadrants, but it's not cut equally. Okay, so let me give you a visual illustration. So this is me, right? So self, me. I mean, it's just a picture representing the idea of me, self. Then family, and then work, friends, the actual work, the environment, the deliverables, making money, then the community, something that we do perhaps not for money, something that we are part of because as human beings, we are a member of a tribe. And it comes from the fact that we are Homo sapiens and our brain is hardwired to be part of a tribe. So I want to invite you to think of these four in your life, these four topics in your life. And there is, I won't dwell into this explanation, although for anyone who is interested, I will send you these next four slides, which is the text version of oh, when we say self, what do we mean? When we say family, what do we mean? You know, and at the bottom there's a prompt. You see, who in your family needs you the most? You know, things like that. It's about relationships, right? And then with work, in what ways can you contribute to something bigger than yourself? And let's say for community, you know, the role that you play, you are larger, you are element or a member of a tribe. But you know, if you think of for you, I mean, like I told you, be selfish, think of yourself. These four parts, they are not equal. Um, I mean, I would say interrupt me now if you feel that your four parts are equal. I mean, I dare say not likely. And of course, these four parts will also change at different parts of your moments of your life. As we progress through life, it will be different, right? Because obviously when we're a teenager, family means something different to when we have children, or for some of us have grandchildren. You know, it has a different connotation and different meaning. And I want to invite you to think of how you're going to cut your pizza in using a method. I mean, if we are doing this, if we have more time, we will literally be doing it on a day basis. That means on a weekday, what's your situation? On a weekend, what's your situation? But think of it ballpark for you now. How might you cut it? Would you cut it something like this, where work is almost half a slice, maybe even work is even more than half a slice? Or would you cut it like this, where work is very tiny because I'm retired? And then actually my life at this current day, you know, today is primarily about how I am involved in the community. And I'm going to ask you to do this digitally using my app. Okay? You don't have to do it on a piece of paper because as we go through today's questionnaire and your insights and your own self reflection, you do it on your app. If you can use the QR code, I let me think. Some of you might have only one machine, so I will give you a link. So if you are on if you're only on one machine or you're on the phone, you go to your web browser and you go to your web browser and you go to the words yoursweetspot.co.uk. One word, yoursweetspot.co.uk. I'm going to type it there and put it on the screen so you will literally have it. And then forward slash 2025. Gonna get into your screen. Apologize. I didn't think about this part. uh, da, 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 da. Um, Text. Okay. I hope some of you are yes. Your sweet spot dot
So,
com.
Friven, is that where we got to set up an account?
You just key in, yeah, it's the same as your email, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's
And
just so
set
that
up
each,
a password.
yeah, just do a ABC or it doesn't matter. This is so that within the system, everyone is individual. It won't be confused because it's your information. So, do you get there? Can I check if people are there?
Can you take me back, Fraven? I'm landing on the mastery framework.
Yeah, okay. Then at the top, there's a blue button.
Oh, got it.
Yeah. You can just go your sweet spot. Oh, actually, that's the easier way. Yoursweetspot.co.uk. At the top, there's a blue button.
Okay, I've got
Okay.
that.
Okay. So it brings you to what you see on my Zoom screen, and we'll
Mhm.
start. So from there, I want you to have a little short reflection of yourself. Do you cut it 25%, 25%, 25%, or do you cut it and we start from self to family to work to community, right? The community, you don't have to type it because it will just give you whatever is the residual. Uh,
It doesn't let us do 25. It's 20 or 30.
oh, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
And I'm probably the most split person you'll ever come across because I would say,
You're
you
the
know what
big.
I do in the
You're
community. So
you're the you're,
25.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry, you have to
Oh,
round to
wait.
full number.
All right. I'll play around with it.
Just round it. Me, you have to kind of swing one way or another. Okay, so it's pretty easy, right? So you're there. You're doing that, and can hands up if you've done that, and hands up if you want to have a comment or I mean just unmute yourself if you have a comment or you feel what do you mean, like. But I think it's pretty easy. You make an interpretation of self, family, work, and community, right? Then in a brief moment, I'll be quiet so that for a brief moment. Hands up, Angela. And Angela, hi, please.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I must be missing something because I can't get past the password.
Um,
I think I need to re-register. I registered for the workshop.
yeah, just
Don't remember
use
setting one up.
just use something new, something different.
It's got to say register at the bottom. So it might say login and then you click don't have an account and
Yeah,
register.
yeah.
And then it will change the blue button to register.
Yeah, it won't take me past. I think I have to set up a new password. All right, carry on. Let me try and catch up.
Okay. Does anyone have difficulty even processing the four categories of your life? Like, do you find it, Maria? How do you find it? Do you find it like very straightforward? Now, not the technical IT bit, but do you find it very straightforward to give a percentage to the four parts of your life, Maria? Easy. Okay, thumbs up. Very easy. Wow. Okay.
You're good.
Hey. Okay. Right. So So once you've done that, I invite you to go next to the next question. The next question is asking you, and this is a system used by the country. I'm sure you've heard of the happiness, which is the happiest country. Basically, what is done is they go through to 1,000 people in that country and they ask on a ladder of 1 to 10, where are you? But in this instance, very similarly, on a scale of 1 to 10, when you look at the proportion, and I believe you see a pie chart, yes? After you key in four numbers, you see a pie chart. So the next question is saying, do you feel that this distribution is amazing and is exactly how I think is the most productive and the best thing that is happening right now, which is 10. I mean, I guess for most of us, it's somewhere in the middle. Okay. It's not important exactly where, it is a relative thing. So if you drag the slider to where you think you're at, and I will then invite you to go to the next one, which is asking you for a percentage of, in an ideal world, if you had the ability to massage how much you work, how much time you can dedicate to yourself, including resting or sleep, to family, to the community, how would you cut that pie? At this moment, I would just want to check that everyone who is participating has been able to use the technology to do it. If you're able to, you put a thumbs up or something, so we know we're good. I'm seeing thumbs ups. Good, 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 good. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Thank you. Thank you. It's good to get some feedback so we know that it's working. So now I want to, after the second pie chart, I want to pause and invite anyone, if there is anyone who wants to volunteer to share, say just one sentence or a phrase of how, if there's anything that you've observed from this, is it the self, work, family, or community that you feel needs adjustment, either to become more or to become less? Is there anyone who would like to volunteer to say something? Michelle, I can't hear you. I don't know. Yeah, yeah.
Hi.
Hi, Michelle.
Hello. Good afternoon, Ryden. Priv- yeah, it's not in balance. And I was going to say, just while I was getting into the pie chart to allocate the percentages, that it fluctuates obviously with life.
Yes.
Excuse me. And one doesn't tend to prioritize oneself. We all know that. And yeah, it's out of balance.
Okay.
In
But
my case, I have to
yeah,
say.
yeah, but also it's also important. One of the first step is to map out the version that you feel is more. I mean, we won't say it's perfect, but it's more ideal, so that you can see the two diagrams.
Yeah.
You know.
I've just got to, sorry, I just did the first pie chart. It wouldn't accept my percentages because they were so out of whack. So I had to change it. Oh,
You no, okay, so the algorithm will make sure that it's 100% so that we can draw
yeah,
the pie.
yeah.
You cannot have 50, 50, 50.
Sorry, 1 second.
Okay, so draw the second one, Michelle. Okay, moving on.
I'll do the second one. Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks.
moving on. I want to invite every one of you to go beyond the second pie chart. We will then have, there's a question is asking you, have you observed that there is, one of the four sectors that maybe you want to take some action? Maybe there are some things that you would like to do, And I will suggest maybe some of the things. It all depends, right? I mean, if you like to give yourself more attention, maybe it's about, give dedicate more time to the sports or the hobbies that I like. Maybe I've always wanted to do my dance class. Maybe it's about time I start to do that short meditation, daily meditation that I want to do. What is it that you want to rewire in your habits and routines to bring the first pie chart closer to the second pie chart? Does it make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, I think you can in answer to Maria's question, you can go back. You can it will let you after you've progressed on, there would be a button at the next stage to let you go back and edit. By the way, like I showed you, right? Later on, after we've done this exercise, we will then get to a stage where you can just click email myself and then you get the diagrams. So
Mm.
you are just it's just like you writing some notes in your own diary. Okay. So
Raven, I don't have a back button either.
you don't you sorry?
I don't have a back button, so I can go forward, but I can't go
When you
back.
go for at the later stage after a few questions, there is a go back. I think that's how I've designed it. So you will get the go to next step. That is the first four questions, and I want to continue this part here. So you see what we've done. If you see my screen, you see what we've done is we've looked at the first how you cut your. I mean, we're not talking about not technically the scientific measurement of time, but your energy, your attention, and time, right? And I then want to highlight and bring us to a concept. So I hope you've done the two pie charts and then you've done a mini reflection on which one of the pies you might want to action or do something. And when you say you want to action, you also have to have an opinion about I want to do it maybe in the next month. Really get myself to do something about this. Okay? Making yourself a mini promise. And then I now want to explain with work these three words that you see on the screen: job, career, calling. And this is a little bit of a game, right? So you also see three pictures. The first one is a janitor, someone who is in charge of like, I mean, in the operating theater, if there was all the blood or it was a dirty hall in the hospital environment, they go and clean it up. The second picture is someone who is at the reception, maybe an A&E reception. The third one is the surgeon who is operating in the theater. Now, if you compare this to the three words, which would do you think if we were to say, if we focus on the janitor, do you think the role of the janitor is job, career, or calling? Okay, you don't have to say it. Just have a word in your mind. Okay, and then we go to the receptionist at the A&E counter. Job, career, or calling? And the heart surgeon, job, career, or calling? Okay, spot on. My timing is good. I'm halfway through my 1 hour. So I want to invite one or two of you to just unmute yourself and see if you have any opinion. So the janitor, anyone, please participate. Anyone? What do you think?
No, that's not his calling or his career. I don't think so.
Okay.
But
Anyone?
But it might be his own business. I'm sorry to.
Who? Possible. Okay. Angela?
well, I was inclined to say it would definitely not be a calling, but you never know. People have visions and ambitions that differ. It
Yep.
could be what makes him happy, what
Yep.
makes him get up every day. I don't know.
True. Anyone else? Just maybe a third. How about the receptionist? Does anyone have an opinion? Job, career, calling, the words.
Career, possibly. She's looking to move up
Okay.
into the management.
Okay. Uh,
I would agree, career.
anyone else?
Pension. Mm.
Job. It's a job.
Job. Okay. The surgeon. Job, career, calling.
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 Calling. Okay. Right. Okay. So what is really interesting is when we respond or we associate the words to the roles, actually we are bringing into play also our own connotations or our own interpretations of the reality, right? But the truth is, we don't know. The cleaner, it could be a job, it could be a career, it could be a calling. So let me explain. A job is something that you do. You have no emotional attachment, but it is a means of bringing food on the table to pay the bills. The career is you make money, but you have some skills and your objective aim, your aim is to rise up the ranks to become recognized, to have more salary, higher salary and to be recognized. A calling is, of course, you also get remuneration to pay bills for it, but a calling is you wake up and you feel like you have that little spring in your step because what you are doing makes you have joy and satisfaction. But do you know that there has been scientific research and there are surgeons who have cancelled operations because they have a golf game? It's true, I mean, and I'm sure you can imagine it's true, right? Do you know that there are people who are paid very little, but they scrub the operating theater, clean the blood, and they feel that they are like the most important, they are doing the most important role, and without them cleaning I mean, pardon the description, like cleaning some of the bedridden patients' backsides, right? Is the way that they are gifting something to the world, to humanity even. So,
Agree.
so everything, whether it's a job, career, or calling, might not be exactly how many hours or how much money we make, or even recognition. It is something inside. Of course, that is not to say that so we cannot associate. I mean, but of course, we all know that when we work, there has to be some kind of reward. And that is the fourth circle you see on the screen, the markets. So now I'm coming to explaining this thing that I call, okay, it's like this thing that I call the sweet spot framework, right? If you see me, you will see like I wear it on my chest, right? So the sweet spot framework. The sweet spot framework is basically again circles. Okay, four circles: joy, strength, the need, and the market. So what is joy? Joy is the thing that you enjoy doing that gives you sorry, the thing that you enjoy doing that gives you pleasure, and when you think about it, whether you smile on the outside but you smile on the inside. Okay. Strength is something that you have the skills and you are good at doing. Maybe you didn't get yourself to become skillful at it, but maybe you did. Maybe it's a talent that you have. But don't, there is a difference between joy and strength, because I use this example. I like to play music and I like to perform on the stage like a rock band, but I suck. Okay? So it, I I might be, that is not my strength, but I get a lot of joy from performing, right? Or analyzing spreadsheets and looking at tables and data. It could be my strength, but maybe I don't enjoy doing it. Okay? So think about yourself. So be selfish. Think about yourself. You're only thinking about yourself now. And when it comes to need, there are some things that you do that helps the world become a better place, helps the people live better, solve a critical problem. Maybe you discover a technique of doing a certain producing a certain product, and the market is indicating we're talking about remuneration. Do you know the things that you do? Do you get something that you need back? Maybe to pay bills, maybe in the form of recognition. It might not be only financial, although financial is one core part of the idea of the market. So you see, if and this is true, I derive joy from helping people. I have the strength of um, looking at a situation and then helping people to understand the problem that they have in their career. It helps them to get clarity and move better, but all the 10 people that I helped didn't even acknowledge how it was good support, and they didn't pay me. After a long period of time, my passion to do that might dry out, right? Because I then start to struggle to pay the bills. So these four circles are overlapping in different ways. And I'll give you an example. So let's say Jamie Oliver. I mean, is not a real one. I have not spoken to Jamie Oliver, to be very truthful. But if I were to ask Jamie Oliver to do the exercise, he will have some thoughts about what is the joy that drives him, what is his strengths, what are the needs that he fulfills, how does he solve problems, and the market. If I look at Henry Ford, right? He was trying to solve some problems. He had the skills and he gets a lot of satisfaction from certain things that he does. But how about Steve Jobs? You see, Steve Jobs is actually not a coder, but he's got the skill of being the best marketing guy, right? So if we were to do a longer workshop, not today, but today we're only going to do questions 1 to 4. If you move to the app to the next stage, I think at question 5, you will come to the sweet spot. So what I have been doing is I've been explaining to you so that you get an idea of how you might write some notes for yourself. Please do not think of this as there is no right or wrong, but you're writing some notes almost like journaling for yourself. And again, like we said earlier, at different stages of our life, things change. So I'll give you a moment to pen some thoughts. And by all means, unmute yourself. And if you have a comment or you need some clarification.
I think for me, my struggle is identifying the difference between the joy and the strength section.
Yeah.
So you gave a good example. I think you said you love performing on stage, but you suck at it. And I thought, okay, that's easy to justify. So it was hard for me the first
Yeah.
few
So
seconds
I will
what's joy and what's strength.
It's really good. It's really interesting, Angela, because if you look at what's on the diagram now, it just means that a large part of your joy and a large part of your strength actually overlaps. You see? That's your passion.
Ah, right.
You see what's on the screen? That's
Yeah,
your
I can.
passion. So I was using the example to highlight that they might not be the same, but
Okay.
there could be a huge overlap. And that is why you struggle to, it's not that different, because in your instance, they overlap a lot, perhaps.
Cool.
So this is how the sweet spot framework does. And the sweet spot framework, I mean, I coined this name, but you will find in online in positive psychology platforms, basically there are other names, and one of them that is more common is people call it the ikigai. But the ikigai is the Japanese word for meaning and purpose. So different cultural backgrounds, different upbringing, different countries or different stages of your life, if you do this exercise, it might be slightly different. But the important thing here is that it is so useful to spend the brief moment on a little bit of reflection because it helps you to reinforce what you're already doing, perhaps very well, perhaps in a you're very happy about it, or it helps you to unlock that maybe there's something that I'm not so happy about it, but perhaps I do it because there's a certain other reason it fulfills, you know? Okay, I'm conscious of the time, so it's 42. And by all means, it you don't have to complete it, but I am keen to get everyone to participate and in a way almost complete it. But if you feel that you want to go back, I did, it's fine. But you can also redo the whole thing. The link is there anyway. But the next question is when you process and you think, there's no point just thinking, right? So the next question is it's a leverage question you see there. How could you use these insights to reduce the work time? Because many of us are thinking about the balance of work and life now, in this workshop anyway, to reduce the work time, to increase the joy, or to increase what you offer to the world, or to even increase income, right? Is it has a fair bit to do with productivity. Is there something that I can do? I can do more cleverly so that I can achieve the same results with less time. We all know that sometimes we spend more time, but the result is only tiny, tiny fractionally better. So then you might want to spend the time instead on something that is for the family, let's say. So there will be like a question here when you go next, like what you see on the screen, that is asking you. So, sorry, I changed the wording a little bit. So it's asking you if there's one thing you will stop doing, and it could be, I mean, the cliche ones like procrastinating washing the dishes, for example. Maybe if you get really, really upset by looking at dirty dishes, but yet you procrastinate, actually you're like, you're depriving yourself to feel better. I mean, it's not your answer, but I'm just using, an example. Or it could be, and then one thing that you might start. Have you thought of maybe meditation? But maybe people have told you that meditation has to be 45 minutes. But maybe there's a meditation that is only 5 minutes and it will help. And what is the thing that you might stop doing? What is the thing that you might start doing to shift your daily patterns? Or to change, bring you to have a bigger overlap when you see this diagram. Bigger overlap. Because it could be that the joy and the strength overlaps a lot, but when you really are being truthful to yourself, the market responding back and helping you to pay bills is very little. So, is there something that you do that you want to adjust to compensate? It does not mean that you have to do what you're doing that you enjoy now less, but maybe the way of how you do it, how you deliver your product, you want to bring in more income, generate more revenue, so that the whole thing balances more nicely for you. Okay?
I like the example. Stop checking your emails after 8 p.m. and saying yes to everything.
Yeah, well, I mean, but we all know that. I mean, myself included. I very often I lie in bed and I'm catching up on the YouTube because I play snooker, watching the matches that's happening in China. But that's not good for me. But it's a habit. So there comes a point where you it's not right or wrong. You might decide that okay, I'm gonna try to do reading instead. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's about you coaxing yourself to make adjustments.
Mm.
Because when someone lectures and nags and tells you what is right, um until the three H's: the head, the heart, and the hands. The head knows scientifically this is not good. The heart can even feel it, but the hands doesn't want to carry out the action. So you must convince yourself, other people cannot convince you. Okay, so when you are ready, you can then see you complete the workshop and you can email. It will then put everything together like a diagram, and you can email it to yourself. Okay, by all means, the link is still there. It's very simple. yoursweetspot.co.uk. You can always try it again, or you can invite a friend to do the same exercise. The difference being is not self-explanatory, right?
Yeah.
So I want to use the last 10 minutes to share a little bit about the backdrop of what happens, because on the one hand, it looks like this is a very technical exercise, answering questionnaires, but it is what happens behind. If you yourself, your heart to open up to answer questions for yourself. So in real life, 90% of what happens in our life, how we process information, we might not be fully cognizant of it. At this very moment, as you are listening to me, you might not know that your brain is doing many, many things. It's controlling the heartbeat, is managing the air coming in and the air going out, is sending signals back and forth to all the muscles. There's so many other things that happen in our life that we might not know. And many of them comes from cultural backdrops and belief systems. And some of these belief systems can be good, some of them can be the ones that hold us back. And in the different roles that we play, if you were to do the sweet spot 4 circles, if you think of, okay, now I'm addressing the topic of work, the diagram might look different to if I'm addressing the topic of something else, maybe as my role as a parent. And the size of the circles might differ, the overlap might differ. There is also a way that we can understand happiness as a ratio of hope and hunger. So you see, there are people like the janitor, but they earn so little. How can they be feeling like it was, a job, career, and a calling? But maybe the janitor has got many facets of her life that gives her plenty of hope, and she does earn enough to a modest living lifestyle, and she doesn't crave for anything more. So it's hope over hunger, and both hope and hunger is about finance, how much money you have, your lifestyle, your relationships, spirituality, and your physical being. So all of these come together, and you decide. There is a very specific structure that I use to then that then get you the scoring of how are you doing on hope, how are you doing on hunger, and then when you look at hope and hunger, we plot it on a graph. You are here today based on those answers. Maybe someone else could be here. I mean, God forbid, but someone who is here has very little hope and very high hunger, right? Where my cursor is. Someone who is here has very high hope, very little hunger. But the idea is to always move from the right bottom quadrant in the direction to the left upper quadrant. So in the business of coaching, I do a mixture of my coaching is actually a mixture of life, career, business, but I call it the happiness coaching, or rather more accurately, the happier coaching. My website is either friven.com or happierhappiness.com. And coaching gives, like, the reason why people need a coach is just like you need a physical trainer to give you is the accountability and a system, and to create so that we can chart out measurable ways to set targets. So in closing, before we go to loose conversation about the workshop, I do a range of work, corporate talks, training workshops, preferably in person, group coaching, and I handle teams or individuals. And my topics are happiness and happier, and team. Team stands for together, everyone achieves more. So good leaders, great leaders believe in team. What stands for well-being and happiness through architecture and design. Because of my architectural background, I am also able to unlock how we can use space to get us better habits and routines. HIME stands for highest impact minimum effort. Sorry, Singaporeans like acronyms. AI for design is one of the ways that people who are in the design industry can actually achieve high productivity. So I want to open the floor. Thank you